Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice of radio, though it is a little bit poorly today. So today, I'm going to be showing you a brand new Garchomp, and this Garchomp is really, really nice. And we can start off with the basics, which are really, really good. I should mention our translation does come from the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG over on Facebook. So, the basics. It's got 150 HP, which is slightly lower than stuff like Empoleon, but still pretty gosh darn high. And it's got free retreat. And free retreat is awesome. Maybe you get a Pokemon KO'd. You chuck up Garchomp, and then either you attack with it or you retreat. It's up to you. Or you play a Guzma and maybe you attack with this and maybe you retreat to something else. You can just stick it in the active, and at some point you get a choice of what to actually have in the active because you got free retreat. It is wonderful. Then, of course, it's a fighting type. And being a fighting type is great. You got Brooklet Hill to search out your basics. You got Diancie Prism Star to do an extra 20 damage. And then you got that new Fighting Dojo card, link in the description, whereby if you've got basic fighting energy attached, this is to any Pokemon, you do an extra 10 damage. But if you're behind on prizes, you do an extra 40 damage. Good time to be a fighting Pokemon. And that's before I mention that actually you are hitting weakness on Zoroark. And you're hitting weakness on Pikarom, which are two of the best Pokemon in the format right now. It is a phenomenal time to be a fighting Pokemon. But what does it actually do? Well, we've got an ability here which is frankly redonk. What it says is, if you are behind on prizes, if you're losing the game, this Pokemon's attacks do 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's 80 more damage if you're behind on prizes. That's a huge, huge amount. Now, it does mean you pretty much have to be behind on prizes. We'll get into this in a moment. But just off the bat, right? You're behind on prizes, 80 more damage, yes. All of the yes. Now, to be fair, this ability on its own isn't going to win games. Just being able to do an extra 80 damage isn't good enough. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not actually amazing yet. We're going to need some good attacks. So what does the attack actually do? We will, of course, keep coming back to the ability. That's pretty gosh darn important. The attack for one fighting, one colorless energy does 80 damage. You may discard an energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 40 more damage. That is absolutely ridiculous. Because now you're doing a flat 80. But if you discard an energy, you're doing 120. And look, 120 for 2 energy is actually pretty good. That's not bad at all. It is proportionally better than something like Buzzwole GX. Buzzwole GX for free energy does 160. Well, you're doing 120 for 2 energy, which is a pro rata of free energy 180. So 2 energy 120 on its own is good. But then if you're behind on prizes, you're actually doing 200 damage for 2 energy if you discard one. 200 damage for 2 energy on a single prize non-GX Pokemon is a huge amount of damage. And let's remember here, you're a fighting Pokemon, which makes it even better. So let's say you're against something like a Buzzwole GX, we don't even have to worry. Behind on prizes, 200 damage, boom, you're good. There you go. Good job. But let's say you're against something like a Gardevoir. Well, Gardevoir's got 230 HP. Well, you're already doing 200, so just add a choice band, and then Gardevoir goes down. Well, let's say you're against something like a Metagross GX, for instance. We'll just add a Diancie Prism Star. And now you're up to 250. And they're going down. But let's say, for argument's sake, you are against something like Celebi and Venusaur. Well, here's the great thing about this. If you're using this attack properly, you're behind on prizes. So Fighting Dojo is going to do an extra 40 damage. So you're doing 290. And 290, right, is just Diancie Choice Band Stadium. This isn't some like ridiculous, awkward, can never make it work combo. To do 290 damage, you need a tool, a bench Pokemon, and a Stadium. And what's really cool, some of you will have noticed, is actually against Celebi and Venusaur, you only need to hit 270. You don't need Diancie Prism Star. So in order to take down a Celebi and Venusaur, just Choice Band and Stadium will do. Now this is important because Diancie Prism Star is 1 in your deck, so it could be prized or it might have been KO'd and gone to the lost zone. But that doesn't matter here. With just a Choice Band and a Stadium, if you're behind on prizes, you're doing 270 damage. That's ridiculous. And it's an ability, but it's a stage 2 non-GX ability. So Slacking will turn it off, and that's about it. Cool, who cares? No one's really playing Slacking at the moment. So this ability is going to stay around. But I want to take Choice Band off the table for a moment. Choice Band is great, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Choice Band is a good tool. But I want to take it off the table for a moment. Because I want to remind you about a card we looked at the other day, which is Black Belt. You see, Black Belt is a ridiculous card that we looked at just a couple of days ago, link in the description. And if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, then your Pokemon's attacks cost 1 fighting energy less. So now you're behind on prizes, you attach a Black Belt, you pop the Stadium into play, and you got Diancie Prism Star on the bench. Well, now you're hitting the base 200, with the Stadium is 240, with Diancie is 260, and because of Black Belt, this is for a single colourless energy. You don't even need to play fighting energy. Now, the downside is you won't be able to use Green Search here because you will have a Pokemon in play with an ability. Otherwise, it would be, like, ludicrously broken. But this is a point in the video where I need to remind you about Miss Magius. You see, Miss Magius is a crazy card coming out, which is going to transform the game. And it lets you knock it out and then draw until you've got 7 cards in hand. That's redonk. It's a ridiculous card, which is going to give a whole bunch of speed to a whole bunch of decks. And don't get me wrong, right, the speed here is important, because the speed is what's going to allow you to draw into your Black Belt, your Fighting Dojo, etc. But one of the things you should have noticed as we go through this video is that we need to be behind on prizes. And we do need to be behind on prizes, make no mistake about that. We need to be behind on prizes to do the 80 damage with Garchomp. We need to be behind on prizes to do the 40 with Fighting Dojo. We need to be behind on prizes to use Black Belt to reduce our energy cost. We can get around without those, mostly if we're hitting for weakness. But let's ignore those for the minute. As it stands, we really want to be behind on prizes. So use Miss Magius. Miss Magius puts you behind on prizes, activates your ability, activates Fighting Dojo, activates Black Belt, and then you're in a ridiculous position here. Because all of a sudden, you're hitting for 240 damage, 260 with an Anti-Prism Star, for a single energy on a single prize Pokemon. Tell me that's not over the top. You'd be lying. It is over the top. The biggest problem with this is that you've got to be behind on prizes. Miss Magius solves that problem. The second biggest problem is that you've got to actually draw into the stuff. Well, partly Miss Magius helps, but this is a part of the video where I bring you Lucario. The Lucario from Ultra Prism. Once during your turn, if you have Garchomp in play, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So that's going to help you to search that rare candy to get Garchomp out. That's going to help you to get the Black Belt, the Fighting Dojo, whatever it is you might actually need. And Miss Magius is a stage 1, and Lucario is a stage 1. These aren't terribly difficult Pokemon to get out and get into play, and they'll get you where you want to go. There is another format where I'm looking at this card and I'm saying, look, the ability sounds fun, and doing 200 damage for 2 energy is nice. But 200 isn't quite enough, and it's not for a single energy, and it's on a stage 2, and your ability might get turned off, etc. There are so many potential problems with this card. But in the format we are in at the moment, or we will be in when this comes out, they're not turning off your ability. We can easily add 60 more damage with Diancie Prism Star and Fighting Dojo. Black Belt brings it down to a single energy cost. We've got Lucario and Miss Magius to help you get set up, and Miss Magius puts you behind on prizes so that all of your tricks that need you to be behind on prizes work. And now all of those problems are gone away. I see this as a phenomenal card. Now, I'm a Garchomp fanboy. I played a lot of Garchomp in Pokken Tournament. Not only that, but I actually took the Breakpoint Garchomp to a regional championship and bubbled top 32. And I mean proper bubble. I had a number of points I needed for top 32, but because of resistance, I ended up coming like 34. It was very upsetting. So look, I'm a man that loves his Garchomp. But I just don't see, with all the tricks we've got, how this isn't a phenomenal Pokemon. On its own, this is a decent Pokemon. But when you add in Diancie Prism Star, Fighting Dojo, Black Belt, Mismagius, and Lucario, it goes from that could be interesting to I expect this to be a phenomenal deck. There is a situation where you're against a single prize deck and you have to at some point stop using Mismagius, but just run a backup attacker or two. I'm sure you'll be okay. Also, as a side note, anyone notice that I've gone pretty much this entire video without mentioning that even if you don't use the ability, even if you're not behind on prizes, the attack for 2 energy does 120, which gets a one-hit KO on Zoroark or Pikarom for 2 energy, which isn't exactly that low. I'm giving this 5 Wassies, and you can come at me in the comment section. Maybe it's because I love Garchomp too much. Maybe it's me getting overly excited, as I am wont to do. Or maybe this is just a great card. Also, in the same video today, they showed us the non-promo version of the Chandelure from this set. Or to put it another way, they revealed both my favourite Pokemon from Pokken Tournament in the same video on the Japanese YouTube today, and that's a little bit weird. But I would very much like to know what you think about this Garchomp, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about stuff like Transformers and Keyforge, and they're fun too. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.